All right, welcome, ladies and gents. This is Oni Onyabor. I'm here, Peter Clampton as well, my pen name. I am here reading the second part of the prologue of Volume 3. If you didn't catch that, check out this video. I should put a link in the description here and like up here in the video somewhere so you can click back on the previous video. But basically, we're just going through, making some edits, and reading the story for your enjoyment and seeing if this writing works. This is my own project, and you can catch Volume 1 and Volume 2 on Amazon. You can buy them in the links below, and just search up The Girl and the Beast and look for Peter Clampton. As well as, please like and subscribe if you like this material, and let's get into the video so we can just start reading this story. Now, if you want to catch up, I recommend checking out Part 1. So, yeah, let's go and start where we left off. Blackmore's, tell me the code now. I don't know, Blackmore. Before Daniel could finish, Blackmore smashed the mayor's face with the pistol. Daniel fell to the ground, and Blackmore roared as he kicked the mayor repeatedly in the ribs. Each blow landed with shattering authority, and Daniel was winded and ached after he endured a good minute of lightning-fast blows to his body. Blackmore loaded up one more kick, calmed down, then grabbed his radio. Let's actually go into full screen here. Let's go into full screen just so we have it. Okay. Men, all of you come downstairs. Grab the scanner. We'll just have to hope the waves can be picked up in time. We'll dig in. We'll just have to turn this place into a war zone. He turned to the other soldiers. Blackmore turned to the other soldiers with, "Sir, if we activate it, won't that mean they'll come?" one of the soldiers asked. Blackmore turned and shot the soldier in the head. Only a few of the soldiers seemed shocked as their comrade's body dropped. Daniel didn't know which was more shocking, Blackmore killing his man suddenly, or the utter indifference displayed by the others soldiers. "Anyone else not paying attention or read the briefing report?" Blackmore asked. The rest shook their heads. "Good. Bring the rest down." Of course they're going to shake their heads, even if they haven't. They're not going to get capped. "Good. Bring the rest down here. We can use this to locate it in the vault." Blackmore gave the glass tablet to one of his men. "The bank will deal with the cleanup while we cut through this backlight, so get on with it." With that, the two guards went upstairs while Blackmore dragged Daniel to the side of the vault. "Tell me the combination, now." But if I open, it'll explode," Daniel said. "That would kill all of you." Blackmore fell silent, then just laughed. "The failsafe isn't a bomb. It turns the damn thing on." Daniel said nothing, and Blackmore just smiled and shook his head. "Wow, you really don't know what it is, do you?" "It's a weapon that will destroy the town. That's all I need to know." "It's certainly a weapon," Blackmore said, "but it's already been turned on, so my cutters inside this tank can just cut the latches from the inside now. I'm not worried about any fail-safes for the bank anymore. However, you can save me some time in Anno, and maybe a few good men." Before Daniel could really understand or ask for clarification, more soldiers entered. "Sir, the residences have started running, but they are filling the streets. Please advise," one of them said. What was he talking about? Why would people be filling the streets? They should be locking up and staying in their homes. Several more Black Island soldiers came down. There must have been a dozen of them. "The bank must have remotely activated it," Blackmore said to his men. "I suppose they figured they could scuttle the ship to save the cargo." But what were they talking about? Hadn't the bank been the ones who arrived? Wasn't that why Blackmore was so mad? "What are you guys talk? Blackmore punched Daniel again and grabbed him by his shirt collar. Shirt collar works. "Mayor, you were damn near useless to me." Blackmore dragged Daniel to the security console. "You can be redeemed." Blackmore stepped over Dim's body as he tapped on the console. "Look." Blackmore pointed at the security footage. The north lobby had a huge hole blown in it. Daniel could see two men in the hole in the faint red of the backlight. The hallways outside the outside the bathrooms were vacant, and there in the front entrance scan was a horde. The mutant dead was a horde of the mutant dead pounding on the doors of City Hall. Daniel felt a figurative punch in his stomach worse than any he'd taken physically. How had they gotten here? There hadn't been any mutants for years in the vicinity. Someone had to have brought them here. But how? Doesn't matter. Every second of my time you waste, more and more of those things fill the streets. The longer you sit here and waste my time, the more of those dead things are going to be in your city. The bank isn't coming. They sent those things because they don't want anyone to have what's down here, Blackmore continued. So the sooner you tell me the combination I can take this thing off your hands, the less of those things we all have to kill. We're in the vault and are about and we'll crack it. And we'll crack it in 10 minutes. My men can hold off till then, but what remains after that is yours, unless you tell me the combination. That will kill the failsafe and those things stop coming, but the clock is ticking. He knew it was true. Daniel knew it was true. The longer he waited, the more flooded into the city. It would be a matter of time before the place was overrun. He had to protect the asset, but the bank had already betrayed him, all for a house on the hill. 67, 85, 79, 16. Now, normally you want to write out your numbers as a convention. I'm choosing to put the numbers there because, yeah, I like that. It makes it seem more combination. That's not technically writing correct, but it's the decision I'm making. So that's what I'm doing it. Daniel felt hollow, yet filled with terror. He had to get those things out of here. Good. Blackmore nodded, and one of the remaining soldiers entered the combination. The locks pulled back with a heavy thud as the door opened. The ceiling cracked and groaned. The safe cracker stood on top of the layers of backlight. The deep red made it look as though it was coated and stained with blood. Sir, we have it contained in sub-locker 1978. Should be any second now, the safe cracker said. Though caked on stiff, they had managed to drill an opening in the ceiling, and after a few moments they pulled out a white casket that glowed. It was a shiny white pearl in a sea of blood. Whatever the bank had hidden was inside there. Thanks, Mayor. No hard feelings on this, I hope. Blackmore pointed to Daniel's eye and grabbed his radio. How many do we have out back? Just a few stragglers, the radio said. Most tried to come through the front, but the transport's clear and ready to roll. Okay, let's get ready and roll out, boys, Blackmore said. Daniel turned to grab Blackmore. But wait, what about those ones at the front? There's at least a dozen. Yeah, which is exactly why we are going out the back. Blackmore pushed Daniel's grip to the side. Imagine if my boss found out I was helping. Wait, you're not the boss? No, if he was here, he'd have torn the door off its hinges, removed your spine, and waited for the bank to come. Then after killing all of them for sport, would have dragged this casket over the carcasses of those mutants out front while laughing all the way home. The other soldiers chuckled as Blackmore finished. And what about the town, you said? Daniel started. I can turn it off, but what is here is here. But it's only a dozen, and with your guns, certainly your men could. Blackmore just laughed and shook his head. There's no honor among thieves, Daniel. You're on your own. Blackmore bent down and pried the revolver from Jin's dead hands. But I will give you some free advice. If you want someone to take care of them and protect your city, do it yourself. With that, Blackmore and his men cleared out. Daniel waited. It was a few minutes before the mutants had started to disperse. Blackmore was honest about at least that much. Oopsies. I guess we're running out of power here, so I gotta finish this quick. Blackmore was honest about that much, at least much. Actually, he hadn't lied about a thing, come to think about it. Daniel climbed the stairs into the main lobby, past the bodies of more dead guards. More young men hired in his town to do something more. It was only a few dozen mutants. Perhaps if he could scramble some men and gather some of the weapons at City Hall, all of the dead guards would be impossible. Daniel stepped in the main hall and his jaw dropped. There wasn't a few dozen. Hundreds of mutants filled the streets of Waterford. It was all beyond the view of the cameras. The view of the cameras. Blackmore must have known there was never any hope of saving the town. Then Daniel looked down the revolver that moments ago had felt so large and powerful, now an insignificant pebble thrown in the ocean of his inevitable demise and the death of Waterford. An insignificant, out-of-the-way place. Perhaps the revolver was a solution, not to the problems of Waterford, but just for him. He saw the hordes of people pushing in. The door broke and the mutants began sprinting and running. He wouldn't make it. He looked at the gun and knew what he had to do. He had done that all day. What he had to do. He pressed the cold steel to his temple, and life went a glorious dark, far away from his house on the hill. And that is the end of the first of the prologue for Volume 3. I realized that was a little less time than we needed. I hope that was interesting and cool and engaging. Something that I try to do with all my prologues is they're always fairly unrelated to the story. Well, they're related to the story, but I very rarely feature the main characters in them because I'm always trying to do a bit more world building, and that's sort of the goal with that there. Let me make sure this computer doesn't go in, and then let's throw a recap for the story thereafter. We need to be quick. And boom, power on. Okay, now let's talk about the story hereafter so we can talk about just starting off with that. Actually, you know what? Let's just end with the prologue here because this is really good. So whatever you guys saw, just cut the edit of the video, like and subscribe if this has been good and you've been able to enjoy something and learn a little bit about the editing. I liked what I saw so far. It read well. I made a couple quick edits, but for the most part, I really enjoyed it. And there was no major continuity errors or holes. So I'm kind of sticking with it, hoping it works out. So I think that is the end of the video. Check out the next, keep looking it out for the rest of Volume 3's updates. If you guys want to hear the rest of the story as we get into it with Lucy and Bibi in the next chapter, part 1. Stay happy, stay healthy, like and subscribe, and remember, you're the author of your own story, so keep writing. Peace.